Admissions 101, and we're going to go over a few strategies and steps in order to successfully apply to the University of California. The current admissions climate is competitive, so it's not enough to get high grades and test scores for the University of California. There are other things that applicants need to do in order to stand out. And through my experience as a mom, an academic advisor, a college counselor, it's given me this comprehensive perspective on what students should and need to do to successfully apply to the University of California. So this specific webinar is going to go over 3 effective strategies and steps so that you can successfully apply. And we wanted to start out with, I'm going to introduce Jaden, and he's going to go over his own experience applying to the University of California. He is actually going to UC Berkeley next fall. Specifically, he got admitted to Haas Business School in their global management program. So that's a very interesting, exciting program that hopefully he'll talk a little bit about as well. So I'll turn the time over to Jaden.
All right, well, yeah, so I'm going to UC Berkeley, and Ms. Brian just asked me to step in and give a few ideas about what helped me get into, what I think helped me to get into University of California, and some helpful tips, and she'll go over the whole process. So the first thing that really helped me was strategically picking classes that I knew that I would do well in, and making sure that I was taking advanced classes and searching out AP opportunities, honors opportunities, but also specializing in the most advanced classes that I knew were my strengths academically. For example, I knew that I was really good in humanities and English-centric classes, so those would be the most advanced classes I've taken, or as math. I would still take honors or advanced or AP classes, but just maybe a little bit of a lower level. For example, I take Calc AB rather than Calc BC. Also, I think that especially I know Berkeley does this. Berkeley takes a holistic look at your application. And I think it's really important to emphasize some of the things that you're passionate about and some of your interests, and make sure that you're standing out in the application process. So for me, something that I think separated me from other economic business students is my interest and passion for marine science. So I had an internship at the Ocean Institute in Dana Point, and I helped develop an app for the visitors. And through that process, I was able to have a demonstrated interest in marine biology, while also combining that with my love for technology. And so finding an outlet for your interest that kind of shows the colleges like, this is what I'm all about. This is what I'm contributing to my local community and to the organizations I'm part of, and so I can continue to contribute to colleges. I think that's going to be a key part of getting you differentiated in the UC system.
Okay, so I appreciate his insight, and I'm going to go ahead and discuss the specific 3 strategies that I've identified to help students get into the University of California. So first, and Jaden touched on this a little bit, is we want you to take the right classes for you. So a lot of times from high schools, they'll give you this pre-populated 4-year plan. For you, I don't want a pre-populated 4-year plan. I want you to take the classes that you're going to do well in. For Jaden, that meant not focusing as much on math and really highlighting the humanities and also environmental science. For you, it may be you're more of a STEM person, so that may be the path that you take. But whatever the case may be, not every student has a pre-populated programmed A through G 4-year plan. I think it's important for students to realize that their high school experience needs to work for them. So the classes that they're taking should be challenging, but at the same time, there needs to be a balance so that they can successfully complete the classes and also pursue their own academic interests so they can flex their academic muscle and really show colleges what qualities they have as a student and where they can stand out in various subject areas. So take the right classes for you. And we can see this in this strategy. First of all, this is an overview of UCLA admitted students for the freshman profile. So if you see here, not only obviously students have amazing grades, but, and there is some variance, you have to realize this is a 75th percentile. So this is a tippy top of one of the most competitive colleges. So take a breath. But that being said, I think the interesting thing here is also that this is the number of semester courses students have taken, the average number of semesters courses students have taken in their high school career in 10th through 12th grade. So that's still a heavy load of honors courses. So you just want to consider that when you are planning your own courses. When UCLA admissions or any of the UCs start looking and evaluating an application, one of the first things they're going to look at is how, not only how successful they are in regards to like GPA, but also how much they challenge themselves. So if you look at the challenge here, it's exceptional. And you just want to keep that in mind as you're planning your classes. So you want to make sure that your classes work for you, that they challenge you, and that you can be successful. So this balance is something I really want my students to consider. And we'll talk about different ways, not only just choosing classes for you, but different ways that you can find that balance to make sure you find your academic strengths and that schools can see your strengths. So here we go. This is, I'm taking this off of an applicant's transcript so you can kind of see the first academic GPA that's not going to be looked at the UC. For the University of California, they're going to look at specifically 10th and 11th grade. So you want to focus on that when you're looking at your own transcript or your child's transcript. It's 10th through 12th, usually the academic GPA. And this is coming from Capistrano University, so you have some reference. Okay, the second important strategy that I wanted to share with students is you not only need to think about grades, but you also want your activities to work for you, right? It's so important to think about your activities as quality activities, meaningful activities. And I want you to be unforgettable. The high school experience is such a unique time in a student's life. And I really want students to use it as activities to have what I call a capstone experience that allows them to identify an activity that gives them the opportunity to develop those leadership skills, to pursue their interests, and to make a meaningful impact. By having an unforgettable activity, you will stand out on your application amongst the hundreds that apply to the University of California. And it not only allows you to stand out in your application, but it also allows you to develop as a person. So I wanted to go over the first thing, specifically what the University of California is looking in our activities. I think it's important to note that for the UCs, they do what we call a comprehensive review. Comprehensive review entails different factors for an evaluator to look for, and these have been designated as important points to consider in a UC evaluation by the regents. So I'm looking specifically at the non-academic review points. So those are achievement in special projects, special talents, achievements and awards, improvement in an academic performance, participation in educational preparation programs, so that would be like Cosmos or EAOP, and then academic accomplishments in light of life experiences. So we'll talk about that as well. But when you think about what I was discussing, a capstone experience, if you are designing or planning a meaningful project, it allows you to hit on multiple points within the comprehensive review that the University of California is looking for. For example, in Jaden's case, I can use him as our example for this specific slide. Jaden was able to do that Ocean Institute internship that he discussed. One of the activities that he did was he designed an app to identify fish for the Ocean Institute, so that when younger kids came in, they could download the app and it would show you the fish and information about the fish, so it would enhance a visitor's experience. He took his interest in environmental science, gave his time, right? So his interest in environmental science, so that would be like an achievement in special projects. And then he developed this app, which was able to it edified the overall experience of patrons who went to the Ocean Institute. And he was recognized at the end of the year by the Ocean Institute. So that's his capstone experience. He spent 4 years at the Ocean Institute. At first, it was just doing more volunteer activity, and then he moved up to more research. And then finally, he was a contributor. So he was able to scale his experience at the Ocean Institute and really magnify himself as a volunteer there. And by doing so, he hits on a couple of the key points in what we're looking for in comprehensive review. So achievement special projects, he developed the app, Special Talents Achievements Award, he did receive recognition. And also it revealed a special talent in coding, right? And finally, by giving, academic caution of life experiences, his investment of time over those 4 years is recognized as something beneficial. So that's kind of how we can take one activity, make it a capstone experience, and have it complement what the University of California is looking for in their comprehensive review. I also wanted to give you some real life examples so that students, it doesn't seem so amorphous. I know some students are like, what are you talking about? But I'm going to give you real life experiences and activities that students have done that successfully led them to the University of California. One of the not most popular, but I know that students love MUN. And one of the reasons why students love MUN is it gives them a chance to be at their school and develop a global perspective within a class, whether that class is in school or out of school. Not only does it allow you to learn about different countries and political social issues, but you're able to compete. So it gives you all those things that are great for a college application. So MUN is a nice program to get involved in and allows for students to develop as global citizens. The second opportunity that students can think about is Future Problem Solving Program International. This allows students to go ahead and same thing. It's usually school-based in a club, and students are able to work together to find solutions to real-life world problems. And I love this because it allows students to think out of the box, recognize themselves as global citizens. So that's another great activity to get involved in that will allow for that type of capstone experience that the University of California is looking for. The last one that I wanted to share from organized activities to give you an idea is National Charity League. National Charity League is great, obviously. It allows for development of the individual, because students get involved in community service. They pick a cause of their interest, their passion, and then they develop the leadership skills by really investing in that cause. And so usually when students are involved in National Charity League, it's an organization that naturally allows them to have the elements needed to be competitive candidates. So these examples on the top row are real examples that I gave that are organized. Now I'm going to give you examples that are not organized, that students actually developed on their own, which I love. I love the student that can take something and make it theirs. The first is Sandwich Club. It sounds so simple, but it's a simple thought with heartfelt impact. And so the student recognized that as he walked to school, he's in an area where there was a large homeless population. And it bothered him, and he really wanted to contribute somehow. So he got his high school to make a sandwich club, simple PB&Js that they would make weekly to distribute. And this allowed for him to start a club, get his peers to be involved in a community service activity, and really talk to them about the socioeconomic issues that are going on in the neighboring community of his high school. So it allowed for him to have this enriched experience with his peers and did make an impact on his local community. So I love that Sandwich Club. Another club that was designed by a student, it's called You Matter. And this club was specific for really having and thinking about teens and mental health, and having students be accountable for helping each other have a positive experience. And so she blocked out a week and would highlight individual students with the theme of You Matter. So what do you bring to the high school? Or, how can we recognize this person? But it really focused on the whole week of really boosting the self-esteem of every individual, and made a lasting impact. And her ASB adopted it, and so now it's within the framework of the school. And overall, it highlights the need for mental health in programming of our high schools. And so I loved that club as well. And it was started by a student who was accepted to UCLA. And then finally, I love entrepreneurial students too. And I had a student this year who is actually going to go to UCLA as well. She is an amazing student and loves to learn, like insatiable desire to learn. And also she decided that she wanted to share her love of learning, so she started tutoring. And her tutoring became such of interest to her that she made it a business. And she was able to do that, and it really gave her this overall platform to learn about people, to explore different ways of teaching, and complemented her future pursuits of studying neuroscience and psychology, because she realized students have all different types of abilities and strengths. And she grew this capstone experience from having the simple desire of loving to learn, so much so that she wanted to teach others. And she did that simply by volunteering to tutor at first. And then people started just asking her constantly, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And before she knew it, she had a business that really complemented her, and also gave her a great discussion topic in her essays. And so these are just a few of the activities that have worked for students in the past. And they all allowed a student to not only pursue their interests, but also develop leadership skills and find a way to give back within the framework of the club, the organization, or the business that they started, right? Because even with the tutoring business, she was able to give back to her community by tutoring for free. So I hope that helped you, given you an overview of making yourself memorable and unforgettable in the application process by not overwhelming yourself with tons of activities, but finding the activities that are going to allow you to grow as an individual and contribute. So now we're going to go ahead and go to our third strategy, and that's making your summers count. I know that sometimes students roll their eyes or get upset when I tell them I need part of their summer, but it's really for the student. So I know that summer is a great time to have fun, but I also think it's an important time to balance your life. So you can balance the fun with either finding an enrichment course online, participating in the Cosmos program, or even finding an internship. But by taking some of the time of summer and utilizing it strategically, you really allow yourself to either get ahead in an academic subject, pursue in something that really interests you, whether it's taking an astronomy class, um, or maybe a new foreign language, whatever your interest may be. Summer is a great time to have this bulk of time to focus on something that you might not otherwise be able to do during the school year. And I wanted to show you this, how it impacts an application. This is actually from a UC application, and it's a student's discussion about Special Camp, which is an amazing organization in San Juan Capistrano through St. Margaret's that allows students to volunteer with campers from diverse abilities. But I love the idea of Special Camp, and I also think it's so important for them to have it in the summer where students can really take the time, 40 plus hours a week, and devote it to their community, reaching out to someone by being a really uplifting camp counselor. And so things like this, like Special Camp or an internship, can't fit in the framework of our school year. So it's nice when students can use part of their summer to explore, contribute, or volunteer. So I know that's not everyone's favorite thing to do during the summer, but in the end, I've often found that students, when they choose something meaningful, are so grateful to have had the chance to do it in the summer because it takes a little off their plate and they feel ahead in the overall process. So I encourage you to be strategic about your overall summer experience and start planning now so it works for you. So we just went over 3 strategies to apply to the University of California, and now I wanted to go over kind of a 3-step method for success. And so the first thing is I want you to go ahead and you're going to make a plan. Obviously, like I discussed in the beginning, is your plan is not going to be exactly like every other student. So you need to look at the framework, what your high school gave to you, and then figure out where your strengths are to make that plan your own. The second thing and the challenge is to develop your strengths in high school. So whatever those strengths are academically or in regards to your interest, you need to make sure that those strengths are magnified during your time in high school by taking classes or participating in activities or even taking AP and subject tests that complement your strengths as a student. And finally, you want to apply strategically. You want to make sure that you are applying for majors that are open and uncapped. You want to make sure that you are applying to a diverse range of schools, especially when you're looking at the UCs, so that you can maximize your chances of being accepted to the college of your choice. So that was my UC success method with my 3 steps. And I hope that helps you to just think about and compartmentalize and make it easy to apply to the University of California successfully. Usually, students can feel overwhelmed in the process, but I encourage you to just start now and start with your own plan so that you can really make the time that you have in high school work for you. Some of the frequently asked questions that I get is if you have any questions, you can go ahead and send an email to me at collegematerials@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. I'll also be starting an admission group in June. And then finally, you can also follow me on Instagram at Miss College Apps. And I'm also on Facebook at College Materials. I wanted to also go ahead and just say thank you for taking this time and spending it with me. I love helping students on the college admissions path. And so I'm grateful that you would take the time and listen to this webinar. I hope it's been helpful, and please reach out if you have any questions. Oh.